So we've got two stories in front of us that we need to record, and we're going to do two separate segments. But both of them are this march towards our ideal Wall-E style future, where we're 300-pound human blobs floating around in our autonomous chairs, directly connected to the Matrix, as all three of us, I think, have said we would sign up for on day one, no questions asked, sight unseen. Is that still the case? Am I misrepresenting us in any way?
That's the utopia.
Yeah, I guess I definitely would like a brain implant that could control things.
Well,
the less...
Boy, do I have news for you.
You should ask.
Yeah.
This is a really interesting story. You brought this up, Peter. What do we have here?
I linked. Actually, my brother sent this to me. So if you're watching, hey, Rob. The thing that I found interesting about this story was that it's a DARPA project. That it was there's the defense agency, the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, something like that. And I was kind of wondering what they might have in mind and how they would be using this tech. I know not everything that comes out, a lot of stuff that comes out of DARPA is, for the greater good, like the internet. But they do definitely start off with a kind of, how are we going to use this to defend ourselves and kill people? That was the angle on it that I was curious about.
I feel like the applications for something like this they are limitless. First thing that came to mind is just like basically telepathic communication between soldiers, right? Flying drones.
Did we say what the project actually is?
Oh, right. Go ahead.
Okay, so it's a DARPA project, and the program is called Next Generation Next Generation Non-Surgical Neurotechnology. And basically what they're creating is a bidirectional brain computer that can both send information into your brain and receive signals out of your brain. And the premise is that they want to put this in soldiers to help coordinate battlefield communications and improve efficiency and coordination. But as you said, Peter, a ton of projects start as military projects and move into broad corporate appeal, commercial appeal, and adoption. That happens all the time, and it's an important part of the design process. I mean, in a way, it's a way to outsource the development costs so that some private corporation can just keep all the profit. We'll make this a work reform story after all. Go ahead, John.
I guess applications are limitless. However, to set some realistic boundaries, when we hear about DARPA working on something, like, we're never going to get to play with that stuff. We specifically never going to get to play with it. Like, maybe in 30, 40 years, that'll get handed down to us. But I feel like for the time being, shit that DARPA starts out on takes decades for it to get into the hands of a common consumer.
Maybe. You think still today, things move so fast today. If a corporation thinks they can make a buck off this tomorrow, they'll be jamming beta chips into people's brains left and right.
Well, I think more so that DARPA doesn't want China or Russia to get their hands on this technology.
Yeah.
They're racing to beat them in this type of technology. Because if we think about it from a military point of view, having all soldiers being able to be communicated to instantly and between each other instantly in silence, huge.
Like the Peripheral.
Like The Peripheral. That's lit. Great TV show.
Nice.
Just dropped on Amazon Prime.
So it's a really, really good TV show. Really is.
Super good.
And we don't even have to get holes drilled in the back of our head like Matrix style.
Right. That's no stint or anything. And it's non-surgical. So like non-intrusive brain-computer interfaces are so cool. Very hot right now.
Can they keep it just military though? Because didn't Oh shit! This didn't Musk have a project to have some kind of like brain interface?
Neuralink. I think his is invasive though.
But
So,
same
meaning
idea. The
it's
technology's
going in.
going to get better and better. Some defense contractor is going to find a civilian application for this. There's money on the table.
Of course, it's called full dive VR.
Yes,
And I'm in.
100%.
Intrusive, non-intrusive, stick it in, baby, all the way through. Get me in there. Let me go fly and battle with Pokemon.
Oh,
Honestly,
it's
that's
going to
the
be
dream.
great.
So, when we're all 80, we're going to be lying in the nursing home, plugged in.
So happy about that.
I'm curious about how it works the other way. Like, how does it read? How does it send data to
I
the
was just
brain?
thinking, how does it write?
They talk about
Yeah.
how it so phase one was reading and writing information to neurons using this two-way communication, which they did. And then phase two is going to be about building on that to actually, I think, make it useful, essentially.
So I wonder if it'll start with like feelings, right? Like intent, anger, aggression,
Emotional feelings or physical
fear.
feelings?
Yeah. No,
Which-
emotional.
Oh, yeah. Because we have the physical stuff. There are systems already now that'll pick up like
Oh, yeah.
muscle
haptic.
signals.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's outgoing.
Right.
Yeah.
Ingoing is much
Reading
harder.
reading brainwaves, I think, is it's just like recognizing patterns in electrical activity. But
Yeah.
forcing neurons to act in a certain way, I think, feels like a much more difficult problem. I'm not a bio
It feels
engineer, but
so intrusive.
yeah, that was the other thing.
does.
Like, is someone going to be able to walk past you and slap a thing on your head, and suddenly
Yeah.
you're dancing naked in the
Or
streets?
killing
I don't know.
someone.
Does non-surgical necessarily mean it's not implanted?
Yeah.
It said it was non-invasive, not non-surgical.
Yeah.
Well,
So
you can
non-invasive
get an injection to jam the thing. Is that
Well,
that's
non-invasive.
invasive.
Non-invasive means you're not breaking skin.
okay?
There's three forms of brain-computer interfaces. I only know this because I just read an article about it.
I feel like in the military,
There's-
they tell you a lot of shit's non-invasive, but it ends up with you getting jabbed with a needle anyway.
No. So there's
You're like, oh, no, don't worry about it. It's
invasive.
totally non-invasive.
There's invasive, which is like what we talked about a few weeks ago, the stint. Right? It goes straight into the brain, lives inside of you. There's partially invasive, which is like a little bit in, kind of touching your brain. And then there is non-invasive, which is this. It's on top.
So in phase one, we demonstrated the main physics of the device, two-way conversion of magnetic to electric field energy to control contactless activation of neurons.
That's crazy.
And activation of neurons reminds me of like when they show brain surgery and they like touch a part of a brain and then the person starts laughing or smells something or whatever. I guess that's probably what that kind of stuff that they're talking about.
Yeah, probably.
Are you in, Peter?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll have a go. Why not?
So
Only
we started by
once.
saying there's a pair of stories. The follow on to this that we'll do tomorrow is the chair that's going to carry us all around to live this dream life of indulgence and
Gluttony.
gluttony that we're all in for. Like and subscribe.